Hello and welcome to the Movies Past and Present podcast. It's August 5th, 2020, and this is episode 50. I'm your host, Stanford Clark, and I'm podcasting from the crossroads of the West in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. Just like my blog, moviespastandpresent.com, I'll be providing recommendations, commentary, and reviews about current and classic cinema. Thanks for tuning in, and let's do this thing. Welcome to the 50th episode of the podcast. I'm very grateful for your support in hitting this milestone. And now let's get to it. So, believe it or not, I think movie theaters might be getting some significant new movies coming up in the next few weeks, particularly over Labor Day weekend. The science fiction action film TENET, which is from Warner Brothers and directed by Christopher Nolan, has been a bit of a moving target, but also has been the film that everybody has been kind of watching to see that if that will get theaters back in business after this COVID-19 shutdown. So the Warner Brothers folks announced that TENET will be launching in theaters at the end of August in 70 overseas territories. So rather than kind of having a day and date opening where it was going to open in the United States the same time as it was the rest of the world, it's going to open up in all these other places, including Australia, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Korea, Russia, and the United Kingdom. There's no plans yet to release it in China, but anyway, all these other countries that have kind of been able to get their act together with the pandemic, and then the United States is they're planning to open the film in select cities, quote unquote, over Labor Day weekend, beginning on Thursday, September 3rd. So they haven't announced those select cities yet. Of course, it'll be, you think it's going to be New York and LA, the traditional cities, although, LA. We'll see what happens if theaters are going to be able to open. So I think it's an interesting way that they've chosen to do this, and we might not even know until just days before if we're going to get it. There's been some theaters that have been running in Salt Lake City, specifically the Megaplex theaters, and they typically bring in a lot of money for these big movies, and so we'll see. TENET is also supposed to open up in IMAX theaters, and we'll again see what those select cities in the U.S. are over Labor Day weekend. So I'm looking forward to seeing TENET, and I'm hoping that this is going to happen. Clearly, it'll happen internationally. And again, we'll see what happens in the U.S. and particularly in just our own individual markets across the country. Another really interesting announcement happened this week from the Walt Disney Studios. On the heels of TENET has been this live-action remake of MULAN. MULAN was supposed to open, as you recall, in March of 2020, and then it kept getting rescheduled. And for a theatrical debut, and finally after this last rescheduling of TENET, Disney pulled Mulan from the schedule, readjusted a few other films, their release dates, and then finally they've announced that Mulan is going to actually come to the Disney Plus platform. However, what they're going to do is charge a premiere access fee of $29.99. We'll call it $30. So for $30, you can see Mulan on Disney Plus, and what that basically means is still a little bit up in the air. I've read some different reports about this, and it'll be interesting to see what the official word is from the Walt Disney Studios. But what I read today was that Mulan is you'll pay the $30 through your Disney Plus account, and then again however they're going to collect your money there, if they're just using the same credit card that you've got when you set up your Disney Plus account or what. And then you'll get basically this premiere access to watch Mulan, and you'll get to watch it as many times as you want. It's not going to be for a particular window, not for 24 hours or not for 48 hours or something, as often is the case with a video on demand film. And then once Mulan becomes available on Disney Plus, it's just one of its regular offerings, which is probably going to be 3 to 4 months down the road. Again, we'll see. Then, you will have gotten to watch it early, but it'll still just be a title there. So you're not necessarily going to own it because, again, we don't own any of the titles that are on Disney Plus. We just get to access them. The other interesting thing that they mentioned, though, that Disney mentioned, that Mulan will be released theatrically in markets in which access to the movie on Disney Plus is not available. So I wonder if that, again, means some international markets. And then I also wonder if Mulan is going to open up in some theaters, possibly. So, again, it's really going to be a wait and see. I think it'll be an interesting thing to see from Disney too, because they're trying it out. Seeing if what their consumers and fans are going to do, if they're going to pay that kind of hefty $30 fee for the film, and they'll study the number of transactions and kind of the number of subscribers that Disney Plus is getting. And then what they're also saying too is that for Disney, this is a one-time event, kind of a pandemic anomaly, if you will. And so they're not saying that this is something they're going to look to doing all the time or with future titles, but I think that they're just ready to release this movie and move on, is how I'm viewing it. So we'll see what happens. So anyway, Tenet and Mulan over Labor Day weekend. Stay tuned. Of course, I'll be talking about it on the podcast and on the blog and my social media channels. But we'll see what happens. Speaking of theaters, I also just want to report that I went back to the theater a couple of times. Disney has released some Star Wars, a couple of Star Wars titles that they were playing as kind of like these comeback classics that movie theaters have been showing since there have been no new movies to screen if the theaters have been open. So again, the local Megaplex theaters chain here in Salt Lake City, they've been running a lot of these kind of classics, and they've been playing a lot of cool stuff from a few different studios. They've been showing Jaws and Jurassic Park and Back to the Future, and even for a couple weeks they were showing some really classic stuff like Singing in the Rain. But I went and saw Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, and also Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and that was just it was bliss to see these movies on the big screen. Again, it's a bit surreal to go into a movie theater, and I just can't give enough kudos to the Megaplex theater chain here in Utah for just how clean the theaters were, and how courteous the staff was, and just they were trying to make the best of a really, of this surreal situation that we're in. The theaters were practically empty on both screenings. It wasn't a private screening, but I'd say that there were probably no more than 10 people in the theater, including myself and some of my family and friends that I went to the movie with, these movies with, they just did I was just really impressed with Megaplex. And but it's weird though, because there's just so empty. Hardly anyone was there. Just generally, the lobby, which is traditionally just packed, is just practically empty. The parking lot's empty. Concession line was empty. It's anyway really weird. But once the movie started, and of course I was wearing a mask too, and I kept my mask on for the whole time, with the exception of when I was chowing down on some popcorn and a Diet Coke. But wow, it was so fun. Just these supremely entertaining movies, particularly The Empire Strikes Back, which is really it's my favorite Star Wars movie, and just one of the I think one of the finest movies ever made. And also Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which is clearly for me the best of this sequel trilogy, and just a supremely fun movie. Maybe not the best, but really just a blast to watch, particularly on the big screen. So that was great. I love that, and I'm excited if we can safely get back into theaters. Wouldn't that be something great? So anyway, it gave me hope, and I really enjoyed that. So I hope if you've had an experience back in the movie theater, that it's been a positive one, even though maybe it's been a bit surreal. And again, great hope that we can get back safely into movie theaters soon. For Classic Cinema Corner, I'd like to talk about a couple of things. First off is that Paramount Studios has released a really cool new set of films on Blu-ray. They are doing what they call Paramount Presents, which is a Blu-ray product, newly remastered with new bonus features and collectible packaging, and they're also saying that these are going to be limited editions. Right now, they've got 8 titles. I'll put a link to this in the podcast notes on my blog. And they kind of run the gamut of Paramount titles. I mean, of course, Paramount is a very storied movie studio with decades of great product. But the films that they decided to release are as follows. They've got Pretty in Pink, the John Hughes film with Molly Ringwald and John Cryer. Then Days of Thunder, the race car movie starring Tom Cruise. A Flashdance, which is kind of a seminal film from the 80s. Then they've got King Creole, starring Elvis Presley. Fatal Attraction, that cute little film with Michael Douglas and Glenn Close. Then just a classic Alfred Hitchcock film, To Catch a Thief, with Cary Grant and Grace Kelly. Airplane, the comedy spoof. And then Ghost, with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. So I've got Airplane. I just ordered it, and it just arrived, and it's saying it's got some nice packaging. It's got a cool fold out on the cover that's the original theatrical poster, which is kind of fun. And then what it's saying, and I'm just gonna read you this box so you just get more an idea of what they're going for with this Paramount Presents imprint. Paramount Pictures Home Entertainment is proud to spotlight a new line of Blu-ray releases for collectors and fans called Paramount Presents. From celebrated classics to film lover favorites, each title comes directly from the studio's renowned library, spanning over 100 years of storytelling. These films have never looked better on Blu-ray, each lovingly remastered from 4K film transfers, featuring never-before-seen bonus content and exclusive collectible packaging. In this Airplane Blu-ray, they've got some new features, which is what they're calling Filmmaker Focus, featuring the writer-directors Jim Abrams, David Zucker, and Jerry Zucker. And they've got a Q&A with them. They're the three directors of the film too. Also, there's an isolated score feature, and then they also include what they're calling an original special feature, which is the director's commentary, which I take it was probably from a previous release of this film, on DVD or whatnot. So. No additional disc. It just has one disc, but I'm excited. I'm excited to explore. I'm hoping to watch it this weekend, and I hope these other titles are good. I think more will be coming, and we'll see how deep they go into the catalog. But and probably some of it they're just testing to see how successful these ones are going to be. But they're competitively priced. And, all around, between like $17 and $20, maybe just a little higher depending on the title. But they, I wish them well. And I know that a lot of hardcore collectors still like physical media. I like some physical media. Part of it for me is just storing it. I mean, not that they take up that much space, but it can really add up. And it's kind of great to have a lot of the stuff online, but then they, with streaming services, even if you buy a copy of it on Apple iTunes or something, Apple still controls it. So in some cases, I think some of the films could be taken away even if you've bought a copy. So anyway, long live physical media, and check out these Paramount Presents titles because I think they're going to be pretty cool. Classic Cinema Corner 2, we've got some great programming on Turner Classic Movies throughout the month of August. It's their Summer Under the Stars month. They've been doing this for a while, and it's back in full force. So it's the entire month of August. They're showing films for 24 hours, a different star every day for the entire month. So I'll have a link to the website in the podcast notes on my blog, but just go to it's summer.tcm.com, and they're showing the schedule. They start at 6 a.m. of the day and then go until 6 a.m. the following day, with just all films starring these particular stars. So it kicked off on Saturday, August 1st with Barbara Stanwyck. And then there's Rock Hudson, Rita Hayworth. There's going to be Ann Miller, Burt Lancaster, Charlie Chaplin, Goldie Hawn, Sammy Davis Jr., Lana Turner, Steve McQueen, Cary Grant, Warren Beatty, William Powell, Natalie Wood. One nice thing on Sunday, August 23rd, it's going to be Olivia de Havilland Day, which I believe is also going to serve as a tribute to her since she just recently passed away at age 104, which is something. But Laurence Olivier, Claudette Colbert, Paul Henry, Charlton Heston, Eva Marie Saint. I mean, it's just awesome, and so it's a great way to go deep into the catalog of some of these beloved Hollywood stars and to see old favorites and make new discoveries, which of course is one of the reasons why we love TCM. So Summer Under the Stars, all during the month of August. Well, that does it for this episode of the Movies Past and Present podcast. Again, links and more information about the movies discussed in today's podcast can be found in the podcast notes on my blog at moviespastandpresent.com. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, and links are also on the blog. As always, I hope you will enjoy some good movies this week, whether they be from the past or the present. Until next time, thanks for listening and be safe out there.